Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Bertoli. I'm the founder of the Eco Collective, and I'm here with Kim from East of Grey. Now, Kim,
Yes,
you've come from Queensland. Is
I
that
have,
correct?
Ash. Yes, Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. So we're going to talk about where to find you after, but just so you know, Gold Coast has an amazing scene, and what they're doing up there is great. But thank you for coming down to Melbourne.
Thanks for having me.
I love that. So let's talk about your eco story. How did you get here?
Well, I always wanted to start my own fashion label, but my TAFE teacher gave me the best advice and said, go work for a company before you start your own label. So I worked for a popular surf company and I learned so much, but it was fast fashion.
Sure.
Back when it wasn't fast fashion, you know, but it was still 10,000 units of the one pair of jeans. And I just couldn't get my head around it. And I thought, why are people wanting to look the same? I was collecting vintage fabrics.
I don't understand.
Me neither. I was collecting vintage fabrics at the time. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to make one-of-a-kind pieces from these pristine, unused vintage fabrics that I stumbled across. And that's where it all began. So I don't know if sustainability was really at the forefront at the beginning. It was more about making unique pieces.
Right.
And I just love vintage fabrics and the quality, the textures, the prints. That directed me into the sustainability forum.
It's funny how you stumbled in. I also stumbled into the eco space when I was designing bras. So I feel you on that. Sometimes it doesn't start necessarily there, especially when, you know, you're a woman and you're running around and you have a lot going on. Like I have 3 children. I mean, you know, making a difference is really important. But sometimes, you know, when you're on that journey.
And I don't think it was a thing back then either. This was 2006. So sustainability was just on the cusp of kind of coming out.
Right.
The company I was working for were doing recycled polyester board shorts for a small supply of their stock. And I thought, why aren't they doing this for everything? They're in the ocean, you know. So I think it was on the side, but it wasn't the main goal, the main focus.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I love hearing the stories of how everyone started. So, having said that, can you tell us about your process? You know, all these vintage materials, I need to hear about them because, wow.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually can't believe there's so many fabrics out there just waiting to be found. And they're unused. They're just hiding in Granny's closet.
Yeah, tell us where, like, somebody could find some materials, some vintage materials.
So there's some shops around that sell not pre-loved because it hasn't been used, but secondhand fabrics, different little op shops, vintage stores, de-stash markets, estate sales if you're lucky to get in on that.
Yeah.
eBay, Etsy.
Okay, so they're available.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't your first runway show, but I know that you just did a runway up in Queensland. Is that correct? Right. So you had the, you know, ability to see your stuff on the runway.
Yeah.
And you brought them down here.
Yeah.
We're so lucky. Thank you so much. What should we be looking out for? What is some of your standout pieces?
Well, my collection is based around Vivienne Westwood meets Stevie Nicks. I named it when Stevie met Vivi, and it's a clash between punk and country, basically.
Oh, that is so interesting.
Yeah, lots of florals, denim. I love denim. And I found some amazing dead stock denim rolls of it, so I can make more than one piece.
Right.
Of course, they'll still be individual in the embroideries that I place on them and little details like that.
Amazing.
But ultimately, I can produce now a couple of the one garment in different sizes, which before now I'm not able to do because of the limited quantity of vintage fabrics that I find.
Wow. I'm so excited because I see the photos. I haven't even been able to see them. So I'm incredibly excited. They're so unique. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I know you're already doing wonderful things in the sustainability realm, but can you tell us, do you have any goals or anything that you'd like to do in the future that maybe you can't do now? Tell us about it.
So I run workshops in high schools based around sustainability in the fashion industry.
That's wonderful.
And I think going forward, I want to expand on that and teach teachers so that they can then teach their students. So if they're in remote areas and maybe their budgets don't allow to get me in, then they can still access the information that I'm sharing maybe via webinars, allow me to expand overseas and places like that where probably being a single parent, I may not be able to get over to countries to share my information, which I'm so passionate about sharing.
Yes.
And now that I've got my education degree, I can catch a wider audience with that as well.
I'm doing my master's in secondary education.
Oh my goodness, it's so full on.
Doing it right now. Starting back on Monday. I got today. Back to class on Monday.
I'm free. Cut the cord. Done.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, last one. The Eco Collective isn't just a runway. It is a place where people connect that have similar values. I would say that a lot of us are in that position of creation and building. We all have a wonderful focus to help each other and to help the environment. So having said that, tell us about, how Eco Collective has possibly inspired you or what it feels like to be part of this event so far.
I think meeting the other like-minded brands has been really great. And we all do different things. So it's nice to be surrounded by creatives who have that sustainability end goal. And they're all hand making or small production runs. And meeting people I just met another girl from Cherry Bobbins, is it? She's from Hong Kong. Yep. So I'm like, wow, you've traveled further than me to be here. So I'm loving that. I'm loving meeting the models. They're all so lovely. Yes. They look great in my stuff.
Yep.
And I've loved being at the workshops with you and just...
We hung out a bit.
You have to teach. Yeah, so I've picked up a few really key tidbits from those workshops, which I've started to implement already.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just excited for this year now. I'm uni free. I can really get stuck into.
Good for you.
East of Grey.
Yes. East of Grey. So you're in Queensland. Where can they find you?
At my home studio on the Gold Coast by appointment.
Okay.
And yeah, I've got my little shop set up there and you can see where the magic happens.
And magic it is. Make sure that you pay attention because this lady is doing some amazing things.
Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Kim, for coming along today. I'm excited to see
you.
No worries.
I'm excited too.
I bet.
Thank you.